Good day, Age of Nations viewers. I'm DanQ, quick creator and producer of this series, and with me is...
Karpinski, the director.
Yes, and here we are once again with the fourth episode in the series, A Day in the Country. You know, this is the first episode since the pilot I've written by myself, and I feel like this is actually a half-decent effort on my part now.
Starting to get a little bit more involved.
Yeah, and you know, I try not to compare the episodes too much, but you know, you get different varieties of apples, but that's a terrible analogy, never mind, you can all laugh at me. So, I thank Dark Cloud for the assistance in the editing, and Gordon with the storyline, and here we are with the first scene, and perhaps I'll get Stan to talk about Carl Beatty a little later and what he's been involved with. But this interplay right here in the first episode, you know, it seems like I'm setting a precedent by having episodes that I write myself start out with just two characters interacting with one another, but we're going to find out why perhaps Trigger likes this little interplay a little later on.
Yes. I don't know if people have been noticing, but I've just come back from holidays recently, and I've been inserting a few movies from my holidays to break up the scenes a little bit. For example, might have noticed a rabbit running away in the distance in the first scene. My holiday in Tasmania.
I don't understand your ability to be so
Yes, and I also have some more backgrounds behind the live actor characters than we did before, and I think that's great. Oh, there's some more bunnies. Woo!
Merchant is a big
They're so cute.
Tycoon is the wealthiest and most
It's okay.
respected businessman in all of the nation. He wields much influence over the council.
too much, if you ask me.
Go to the
Just
animation
like
shop.
virtue. Too
Put
much
a little program.
influence.
And
Work is a
I've learnt
nice
now
guy.
how to
The council
just to
likes
impose
nice
backgrounds.
guys.
Future episodes,
Nice guys finish
expect to
last.
see more than one moving
Depending
character.
upon the race, that may be
I've
a
been able
good
to
thing.
work out how to overlay multiple
How
animations.
long have you been following us? Eavesdropping on us?
Yes, and you know, Virtue's trying to get Marsh annoyed by calling him by his full name, which we have found out on several occasions before. He's not particularly fond of people doing.
Worker. It is
Yeah.
well known
I'm
that
looking
land
now at
you prefer
scene one, and one of the problems with Rise of Nations, of course, is that all the military units come in threes. A little bit tricky to try and control footage that's actually from the game.
We are.
Yes, but you're doing an excellent job, Stan.
Thanks.
You really get all those extras that are on the screen all the time. You really keep them in line. I don't know what you're doing, briming them or something, but
Did you exhaust
I have to
your
keep
time
reshooting them.
arguing with Jason?
Get used to using the,
Listen to your
Oh.
get used to
Well,
using
you
the pause
were
button
coddling the council
and
with tales of
stop and
this
start
and
with
the
options.
other nonsense
Keep
you
redoing
blather
it so
about.
that I can
Trig
just
and
get
I
it right.
demanded civvies
Then
from some large
a lot of
parts and
editing
violent
takes place.
wolves. Heathens.
right,
from the
man,
underworld.
reshooting them. I mean, we don't even have guns yet at this point in the... Oh, wait, wrong shooting. Never mind.
You know what I mean.
yourself.
I know what you mean. I'm just being difficult. You know how I am,
You
Stan.
see, as well,
Yes,
I
Stan.
found the doctor's best son. After he'd won
And we
the
mentioned
race.
Sage right here, and we're going to hear more about him later in the episodes in the series, to be sure.
What's the
That's all I'm gonna
reference
say.
name?
Sage,
Right.
and he's hard
Dum-dum.
I'm now looking at the caravan under
Can he
attack.
tell a good joke?
It's ready to
Trigger
stay.
thinks he has a monopoly.
No,
on
not quite there yet.
humor.
But we're very close. We're very close, because, yeah, you know, and the background music that I had here, which was originally playing for the soundtrack, it was sped up a little faster than I wanted it to be. Now we're at the caravan attack right here. I love this scene especially, as well as the freeze frame on the dead caravan's corpse that you incorporate, Stan. Just watch. I love it.
I had a bit of fun with this one because even though I can swap sides and control the two in the game, in Rise of Nations, the problem is the screen completely changes because you can't see. So I'm manipulating the Egyptians. Well, I can't see what the Greeks can see. So when I'm chopping and changing, it's very, very tricky. Hence, lots of pausing and lots of editing before I can end up with a clip where I've got
We must
Both sides
evaluate the
fault.
pros and cons of launching an offensive on
Yeah,
this foreign
yeah. So
city.
this is the first
Doing so
episode where we're
would be
really
prudent
having to
have a
work on that
comparative list for frontal
that controlling
and
more
covert
than
assaults.
one civ. Just wait till
But
there's more
in
than
order for
two
such reports to be
on the screen at
accurate,
once. There,
we
Stan.
need current intelligence on the defensive and offensive
Like a Villanova
capabilities of
breakdown
these.
coming
I
on already.
hardly see all of this bourbon's accomplished.
So we've been here in the episode. We've been listening to Kyle Ixnay Stadler once again voicing Odysseus, and there's my voice as Achilles. You know,
We choose
not
now to become
Kyle
interested in
himself,
my
but Odysseus
ideas.
really likes to hear himself talk. And there you are as Heracles voicing Heracles again.
A good offense is a good defense.
Yes.
Odysseus.
The
Now you
background
consider
scenes for some of these things
Good counsel
are
must
from my
recognize
Roman
that
garden.
being
I
part of
constructed
a
a Roman
ruling
garden
body
last
such as
year,
this one
and
requires
we're
open
just starting to
dialogue,
see the
communication,
benefits
and
of
willingness to
quite a large library of clips that I'm starting to accumulate, and also how to impose a moving animation in front of a static one to give you the background.
Yeah, those look really sharp.
Esteemed
Those look really sharp, and of course, that's the reason why you built the garden, actually, because you knew that this
and
series was coming.
convoy be dispatched to
No.
this city.
Oh, come on!
rules
I
of
can
order
obviously
and
watch.
council sessions are quite clear, General. And
I felt she was
you
taking
are
over our
Body
garden
do
and,
give it a
and
rest.
wanting
You
all
will
her
have all
own
our
theme
eternal
gardens. And I said,
gratitude.
well, what about me? What garden am I going to have? She said, well, what do you want? I said, I want a Roman garden. And before I could blink, she'd been down to the library and researched it. So I was stuck with building it.
Oh, there you go. And now Age of Nations is reaping the rewards.
Just
Flattery
it
will
happens to work in nicely with some of these early scenes.
Yes, it sure does. It sure does. And there's just a quick line by a dark cloud as Jason here. He has like 2 words. We're going to hear Jason a little later, but some people might have missed him the first time around, so that's why I'm here to point these things
They
out.
can be more unpredictable than the wild animals.
I hope people have noticed some of the props that I'm starting to accumulate for the production of this series, and even researched a little bit of ancient dress. It's gradually developing and looking a little bit more suitable for the period.
Yeah, I particularly like the points when we've got the live actors. They're not actually saying anything on screen. They're just kind of looking and pondering. That really adds a human face because, of course, you can only zoom so far in Age of Nations. Rise of Nations. See, the names are so close. I get easily confused. Stan will tell you that at any point.
When I get a volunteer to act for me now, I have a list of about 25 different things that I want them to do, so I can shoot them doing all sorts of different things in future episodes. Looking thoughtful, looking upset, looking very bored.
Oh, they might not be acting when they do that one.
The threats they make, I
I'm
think, are
too
pretty
keen
real.
on the civic participation part, but it's a price to be paid
Oh my.
with tiptoeing
So I've
goody
actually
two-shoes,
accumulated
I
nearly
guess.
50 gig
That settles it.
of material
Okay,
for
comment
Age
again?
of Nations so
Yes,
far.
very well.
Wow.
We've heard enough.
I just said that,
The invoice
you know,
is
the
authorized
amount that I have in
and
my hard drive is just
over.
paltry. I think it's only about 2 or 3 at this point.
Well, one of the things that I'm stuck with, it's a little quirk with dealing with AVI.
Please, the caravan,
Uh,
the caravan
When
has...
I save AVI, if I've got one with a transparent background, when you save it, it converts the background to pure black.
The
And once it does that,
caravan that was
future
supposed
episodes,
to
I can't use the
establish the
transparency.
trade route of gold
So I have to
between
keep
our two
all the
cities never made
individual
it back
frames
from the
saved
capital.
with
I
the
came across his
background transparent,
remains
and just run them
along
through the
way
wizard
back
each
here.
time. Make
What
my
were you doing
yeah,
coming
my
back here
animation for my
anyway?
next use.
I thought you would
It's,
become the mayor and all
I can't
the
just
title
recycle
over there,
the
gold
saved
digger.
AVI, which is a lot smaller.
Has
Just give it a little
anyone ever
quirk there,
told
converting
you
the
that you
background.
remind them
Very
of
annoying.
lookout when you
It's
speak?
manageable.
Yeah, you got all these little files and whatnot that you have to manage. I mean, I've got every
I
line,
know
folks,
what
that you
my
hear. I've got an individual
caravan
file for everybody
look like.
speaking that line,
was
and so when I
murdered
put
as surely
the
as
lines
I wish
together,
we'd invented
it's just
currency
insert this
already.
line one after another, so I end up with lots of individual
bloody
files,
dork.
which
This
really
losing
means
loot
that
for
at the
me
end
was
of an
not bad
episode or
enough.
multiple
You
episodes,
broke
I
on
could
and
take
allowed one
those
of our
lines
best
and I could
carries to get
write
killed.
an entirely new
Don't
episode
move
just
for
with those
black
lines.
dudes
Not
who
that
are
Stan
dead.
would agree to film it
They are
because it would be
missing.
ridiculous.
Missing? Murdered?
Yeah,
They
well,
both
I've
start with
similar
M.
sort of thing
They
with
might
all the
as well be
scenes.
the same thing.
4 to 5 megabyte
Screw
AVI
this,
clips
convoy.
for every
Screw you.
bit.
And that scene that just passed where, there's a lot of verbiage, as Achilles would say, but it sets the stage for important events in the future where a trigger takes over from Virtue as a result of that caravan being killed. There are going to be repercussions for that, and we're going to see that.
Trigger, heavy attack infantry general.
Yes, well, I'll tell you what, I'm beginning to appreciate how much effort goes into the making of modern movies and TV. This particular episode was 23 minutes.
We noted that there was
the final
consensus on what was
put together job. That was an enormous amount of work.
Yes, and actually, in going 23 minutes and going just that few extra minutes over the 15 to 20 minute mark that we had looked at, there is now more than 1 hour of produced Age of Nations episode footage. We reached that in this episode. What a milestone. It's hard to believe.
Is there anything else to add?
Well, each individual series is
Well,
going to be equivalent to about 2 Lord of the Rings movies.
By the rest of the council, I can safely say
Yeah,
this
there you
meeting
go. I
of the
mean, that's
council
just
adjourned.
crazy.
Anyway,
We're now coming up. Oh, go ahead.
Let's go
I was just going to say, I'm going into scene 3 now. With Tycoon talking.
Everyone is clear. Mark,
Yeah, I think that's more or less where we're at.
headed the task force to find bandits
It's
and
quite
killed our
the
caravan.
detail in Rise of Nations
Assassins
is
that
actually
murdered
quite
our
good.
countrymen
It's just
is
a
more
pity
like
it
it.
just
But I
can't
hear ya.
zoom in 1 or 2 more times.
Let's
Would
get
have
a
made
move
it a lot
out, you
more interesting.
loitering lot.
But unfortunately, most scenes are shot in maximum zoom.
Marsh,
That means I'm zoomed in as close as I can. For battle scenes in the future,
that
I may have to zoom out a little bit
Virtue.
because
You must guard
um,
spies on this
the limitation I have is
at all
640 by
costs.
480 dimensions,
Is that understood?
and some of the weapons ranges at maximum zoom
Yes,
are virtually
sir.
from one side to the other.
Good.
So in future, I'll probably be
Take
zooming
you
back
and
a little
your
bit for some of the battle
best
stuff.
friend with you for safety.
Yeah, I just add some variety there, but again, this is the first episode again where you're controlling more than one civilization in the direction, and we actually have some action that we saw before, and there's going to be some more action coming our way. And as I said, this is really also the first episode in terms of the soundtrack that I'm using more than just variations on the main Rise of Nations theme. I went into the soundtrack and started incorporating quite a few. Looking back, some of them had better effect than others, but I really think it adds something. At least I would like to think so, rather than just the sounds that you hear being the voices, because having the sounds from the Rise of Nations environment in there as well is just one other thing to worry about this point. Maybe in the future, maybe not, but enjoy the music.
Yes, I think it does actually set a good mood for some of the scenes. I'm actually going to become quite fond of some of the Rise of Nations piece of music.
Yeah, so we need to give credit where credit is due to those people out there that put that music together for the game. It has an additional life now, and we're just getting in the scene right now with those units that attacked the caravan. We're going to have Kyle. He's back here voicing this character of Abraham, and he's going to ask, does anybody have anything to say for themselves? And there's a line that's Abraham we. That is me saying that line using the voice I used for Lookout all the way back in the pilot, and the last commentary Stan joined me with on was on the pilot. So what a spooky connection. Are you scared, Stan? I'm scared. There's too much continuity. My brain hurts. Although I
I better not say it.
I could say that for any time of the day, I suppose.
Lieutenant,
So that was just a nice little
Reporting,
quick
sir.
scene there, and we'll get back to Abraham and those crew. I believe this is also the first episode where we introduce the Virtue live actor. Is that right?
I don't know,
think
sir.
so.
Some started to.
The new one, yes.
Yes. I had problems with the original shooting because, as you are aware,
Begging your
I'm
pardon, sir.
shooting,
But
as
what
you
is the
probably
name of
guessed,
this
I'm
new
shooting
genie
people
we keep
against
referring
a
to?
neutral background to pick out later. And when I shot Virtue with my friend Ian the first time,
and you,
I forgot I had a grey blind behind him.
Didn't I hear
He's got
about one of the
white hair.
councilmen saying something
And,
about
after he'd gone home
Lieutenant.
back to Canberra, which is 3 hours
Sorry,
away,
sir.
I suddenly realised
Tongue,
I
sir.
couldn't use him
Aye.
because every time I tried to pick him out from the background, I lost all his hair.
Ah.
It's tricky, very tricky. So that's why we've got a new
I was
Virtue.
just
Because,
standing.
it's a fairly major part, I want to have a variety of clips. So when I reshot my golfing partner as Virtue,
Take us to
I,
the scene, Private.
I got something like 45 clips of him, different poses. You might notice he's ex-army. He's wearing certain types of army gear and brandishing a samurai sword. It's a souvenir of his.
And back in the past scene, we also introduced Lieutenant, one of Virtue's men, and the second character voiced by you, Stan. So kind of you to do that.
Despite Marsh's best efforts,
That's okay.
all of them
I hope you like the suit of armour I built for the lieutenant.
Just unbelievable.
Oh yes, it's very sharp.
Part of my new, I got half a room of props now for Age of Nations.
Only half?
It's not all bad.
Must be a pretty
I found me some
small room.
Couple
Big.
of shields,
Where
few
the
weapons,
fiery pits of the
a
gods
bit of clothing and
souls
stuff
were
now.
you?
I've taken over
You
the
and your men were supposed to be finding
Well, as long as you don't take over anything else, Stan, that's.
scouts.
I think everybody will be happy.
That's
And
some kind of intrepid-
there was a comment about not saying what the name of the second Greek city is, and that's being classified. But then again, we never even said what the name of the capital was. But yes, it is Athens. So for those of you nice enough, or is it brave perhaps, to listen to these commentaries, there's something that you now know that nobody else does. Shh! Don't tell anyone. Quiz later.
By the gold mine. We will
Okay.
not be able to improve the defenses of our cities.
I'm currently looking
You're
at the battle
as
stage.
cute as a little girl with a bow in her
You up
hair
to there
can
yet,
get.
Dan?
Save
Yeah,
our
we just
slop
passed
for the
that, actually.
council.
Just a
They'll
little bit.
swallow anything whole.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
know
can tell you
you're
now, this
looking to
was
increase
very,
your
very
army
hard
service
to
at the
shoot.
expense of
I
mine.
had to
Yours
pause
is
a
already
lot
the
and
largest,
do a lot of
and you're
editing
in
to get
command
this.
too now.
And people will
You're
probably
one
say it's a bit slow,
self-centered
but
lowback.
God, it's hard to control. As I said earlier, when you skip from one side to the other, the view on the screen changes completely because
That's because
Um,
so many of them just got
the,
themselves killed.
Because
the,
you were not
the field of
following
view
orders.
of the different
I
units
was never
is different when
ordered
you
to
swap
guard
from one
the
side to the
trade
other.
route.
So it makes it
But
very,
you
very
were
difficult.
ordered to find those who attacked the
Yeah,
caravan.
I'd forgotten about that. Otherwise, I might have given you a heads up.
Newsflash!
Or I might have kept it to
We're the
myself, I
ones
don't
who
know.
got the upper
We'll
hand
never
on
know.
those tricky bastards. My men are not only the fastest, but the cheapest to train and equip.
And we just have, Marsh referring to Tycoon as a peddler here, and again, that's used to emphasize Marsh's dislike for him. And it may come as a surprise, but Tycoon's feelings are pretty similar, although he's a little better at disguising them. He's a little more tactful.
Could not have been better.
And Marsh really doesn't have respect for Spice the Caravan either,
We'll
it seems,
play
in the way he
blame
talks about
game
him. But
later. We have
You know-
I don't think Marsh has much respect for anything except himself.
Look, Marsh is an equal opportunity bigot. He's consistent. We'll give him
Yeah,
that.
he hates everybody.
That's right, and everybody hates him, so everybody's happy.
The cherry on top is that
Right,
Papa
that
cut
works.
himself all cut up in his
That works.
wheeling and dealing
A nice
with the
circular
trading post.
reasoning or
We're
something.
in charge, just as it should
And
be.
yeah.
Thanks to your
And I have to apologize for a couple of lines of Marsh's here that both end with time. I listen to them now and I grimace, but haven't thought of rewrites for either of them that I'm happy with, that made sense back to back. I'm obsessed with thinking about rewriting them, but, there's only so much Dark Cloud can do. He gets material from me and it's like, oh, not again. Like, what am I doing? Trigger mentioning Wild Game. If you remember back in the pilot, and again, Stan was with me for that commentary, before Marshmallow and Trigger and Virtue were in charge of troops, they were in charge of protecting the Greek citizens from Wild Game. There's a reference. Continuity. It's very important.
When describing what
Yeah,
more must
right.
you do to demonstrate
I'm looking at I'm looking at the goats.
you yourself
Yes.
The goats that I
you open your eyes.
and by the second city.
But
They
Look
were,
out.
of course, from my Tasmanian holiday.
Yes, sir.
yeah, you didn't take me with you, Stan. I'm still bitter.
Actually, here I am looking at the sea. I'm actually trying to move my mouse up. I can see the rest of the city. I'm forgetting it's a video.
Are you going to
Yes, Stan. It's a video. It's an episode of a series. Remember where you are? It's okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm back. At this point, I'd like to mention my assistant, Carl Beatty.
I heard that Spike.
Carl and I went to IT college together, and he's volunteered to help me a little bit with the ADIs. He's currently doing a few folders of frame conversions.
Like
As people
Marshmallow does
probably
not
work
engage
out,
in idle
we
conversation.
needed to handle a lot of
Out of line,
frames
Private.
and picking
Get
them
out
off
of our
the
sight and fall back.
picking them off
I must
the
apologize for.
You
backgrounds.
can
Takes a
start
bit of
with
time.
by
I'm getting better at it.
apologizing for yourself.
And
You were the
he's been
first
helping me
one
with that.
out of line.
He also happened
Yes, sir.
to
I am sorry.
find a shortcut
Don't
for me, which is
forget
going to save me
it,
one step.
Lieutenant. The
Something he
great
discovered in
body
animation
lies
shop,
in
so
this
he's already
room.
been very
It
useful.
is also being said that Heracles...
Oh, that's great. And I did ask at the beginning of the episode that you mentioned Carl,
You
so
will have a shallow
it's good that I can
grave
check that off my
waiting
list now that you
for
pay
your
attention to me.
next life.
Okay.
Stan's
If
thinking, oh
anybody else
man.
wants to volunteer, we'll
Thinking
accept
that
any
they will
volunteers.
take on
It's an
another
enormous amount of work
caravan, no
to put one
doubt.
of these together.
Arrogant
23
fools.
minutes. That's the
We'll be
equivalent
ready
to sort
for
of a
them.
half-hour soap opera on commercial
Excellent
television.
work, Private.
Yes, I know, and folks, it took more than the
Why
23
was it?
minutes that this episode airs to actually put together. Don't fool yourself. If you've never tried it, don't knock it.
Even intricate.
Yeah,
But you
exactly.
approved of this?
Not as easy as
Because
this looks.
Excessively inquisitive.
oh no,
No.
no, lots of byproducts along the way. Some good, some bad.
I am in command.
Some we
now.
don't talk about.
Does
In
he
polite
take
company.
no of their punishment, sir?
And we're back at this battle scene coming up on here once again. Oh, one of my favorites.
We have armor, sir. Right numbers.
One of my favorites, and I am sure it's a favorite of some other people's as well. I realize that there is a lot of dialogue, more than you might see in other machinimas, but then again, we're unique. And we're trying to have a plot here and develop some characters, but we also recognize that every once in a while, I mean, there are wars. I mean, this is a game about nations, and everybody likes a little violence in their media, not in their lives. I got to be careful what I say and how I say. I mean, you can edit that and take me out of context, but you know. There's also references to the speed of units here. You know, or also, for example, that Virtue's men have better eyesight than Intrepid. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's a Rise of Nations rule. My hands are tied on this one, folks. You know, always try to conform to rules within Rise of Nations within writing these episodes, because otherwise Stan would have to do some creative editing, and he does enough. I really don't want him going on strike, so I have to be nice to my director.
What was that, strike? Strike?
Use that cliche, sir.
That's what my wife said.
Focus, soldier.
Oh no, I put a thought in your head. Now you're gonna form a union. Uh-oh.
He's already put it there.
Oh my.
Oh no. There's also some bathroom humor in this episode. Just a couple of lines there. It works. It's cheap, but it works. You know, we gotta have some comedy in here because some of the stuff is pretty serious. You know? And
Exactly.
and this final battle scene here, just the absolute carnage and Trigger yelling at people to no, stop, you must stop. Don't you worry, folks. Marsha's going to hear about this. It's going to get a little exciting. The consequences from this. And there's the to be continued line. You know, this wasn't the first multi-parter, but it's the first one that feels like a multi-parter. So, Stan, thank you very much for joining me. We're just looking at the end credits now. And thank you.
No, my pleasure. And as I said, people can look forward to things getting more and more interesting, both from the production and from the plot point of view.